Sunday in Lent. Lent is a time of fasting, prayer, and almsgiving, but this isn't simply a matter of doing penance for past sins, but is preparing us to be conformed anew to Christ at the Easter Vigil when we renew our baptismal promises. And to conform ourselves to Christ, we conform ourselves to the pattern of his life, particularly his struggle against evil, which culminates in his death on the cross and his vindication by the Father on the third day. And so, right at the beginning of Lent, the Gospel for the first Sunday is traditionally the temptation in the wilderness. And this psalm, which in the Vulgate is Psalm 90, and in modern translations is usually given as Psalm 91, shows up throughout this first Sunday of Lent. He who dwells in the shelter of the Most High and abides in the shade of the Almighty says to the Lord, my refuge, my stronghold, my God, in whom I trust. We know this one well because we sing it every night at Compline as we prepare for the preparation for death that sleep is each night and the resurrection that marks each day. So this is a psalm that shows up throughout the liturgy. Every one of the propers is based in this psalm in some way. It's an interesting thing because it's speaking from the point of view of Christ being tempted, Christ being put to the test, particularly in his passion on the cross. And so we are already at the beginning of Lent putting ourselves into communion with Christ, putting the words of Christ on our lips. When we undertake fasting, when we undertake abstinence of various kinds, normally there will be some resistance in us. Hunger will make us irritable in certain ways. And we are being tempted to give in to anger. We're being tempted to give into uncharity and so on. And so with the same words, we call upon God to send his grace to help us. We're just going to sing the first phrase now. Invocabit me. He will call upon me and I will hear him. I've been talking about the modes in the last few weeks. This one is in mode 8. The tonic is here, which is the note sol, and do is the reciting note. Again, it's interesting to me that on the first Sunday in Lent, we start off with a very joyful, confident psalm and a confident musical setting. It's not quite as ebullient as mode 7, which also ends on sol, but recites on re up here. This is a little more subdued. As I said, there's a sense of quiet confidence in this setting. And so I will call upon him, he will call upon me, and I will hear him. I will save him, and I will glorify him. Listen to the second section and how the composer has set the word I will glorify, glorificábo. much higher than do or re. But in this case, we have again a nice anticipation of the resurrection and glorification of Christ in the ascension with this extra high note. Et glorificábo. We go all the way up to the note mi, 2 steps above do, which is our reciting note. And so if you're accustomed to hearing the modes and their particular qualities, this use of mi will be particularly noteworthy. We'll hear it as an important symbol that we persevere, we run the race that lies ahead, confident in the hope that lies before us of Christ's glorification and our glorification with Him because of our baptisms. And then now we're going to do the last phrase, longitúdine, with length of days I will fill him. And again, listen to how the chant very nicely sets length, gives a sense of length, and then filling, adimplébo. Longitúdine. Assume that the chant music will do word painting. We can't assume that it's going to interpret the chant text that carefully. In this case, I think it's doing that. Longitúdine. The repeated notes at the end of this word give this sense of this succession of days that's going to go on and on and on and on. And then when our Lord is filled with this length of days, with eternity, we go down to a surprisingly low note. Adimplébo. So we've gotten the whole gamut, really, of notes in this chant, which all the while does not feel overly, it doesn't plead in any special way for a strong emotional content. It's very solid, very confident. We're going to sing one more time for you the Introit for the first Sunday of Lent, Invocabit me. Invocábit.